from PRX.
All right, I'm so happy to talk about tonight's sponsor, Quince. And Quince is a part of my daily routine. Quince has their superfood greens, which cuts through all that nutrition noise, all the overthinking I would have to do. All of everybody take this, try this. Have you tried that? No, you got to get that. You got to get that and this and that. And I said, I don't know. What's the difference between... Like with Quince Superfood Greens, it's so easy. It's so clear. I don't have to have all of these different supplements. And I've really gone down that rabbit hole. It's exhausting and confusing. But when I take that scoop of Quince Superfood Greens, I know it's going to fill in all my nutrient gaps, support my overall health. It's going to taste good. And I know I'm getting an amazing deal because it's from Quince. Quince Superfood Greens combines 78 high-quality ingredients into just one scoop. It has vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced greens. It's made in the USA and rigorously third-party tested. It's free from soy, stevia, major allergens, and has no artificial sweeteners. Quince works directly with trusted manufacturers, so you know you're getting premium wellness ingredients without the inflated markup. And instead of taking like 6 or 7 different things and still wondering if I'm getting everything I need, if I'm filling in all those nutrient gaps, now I just take that Quince Superfood Green scoop, mix it up, and I know I'm covered. Doesn't it sound so easy? And it tastes good too? And it's a great deal? Fill the gaps your diet leaves behind. Go to quince.com/sleepwithme for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/sleepwithme for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sleepwithme. Check it out. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Thanks, everybody. All right, buddy, this is Scoots. I'm coming to you in bed. I am getting comfortable, and I said I'm going to record this spot for Helix Sleep from the bed I love. Do you love the mattress you're listening to this show in right now? Absolutely love it like I do? Because my Helix fits my sleep needs. Does the mattress you're in suit you? Because what happened for me is I took that Helix quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep, and I got matched with a mattress that fits me. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to wake up with aches and pains, and I like to sleep cool. I don't want to overheat. And so when I took the Helix quiz, again at helixsleep.com/sleep, I got matched with the perfect mattress with me in mind. I didn't have to go to a store. I didn't have to have a salesperson watch me. No, I got to tell Helix how I like to sleep, and they matched me with the perfect mattress. And I love the bed so much. I'm like, let me record from bed. And then when you get your Helix, it comes with a 100-night sleep trial, a limited lifetime warranty. It comes straight to your door with free shipping in the U.S. It's got a Happy with Helix guarantee, so you can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. And you deserve the best night's sleep possible. You owe it to yourself. So go over there and take the quiz, because not only are you going to get matched with an amazing mattress, Helix is going to offer you a special deal. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. While this podcast may not be novel, we will have a little bit of a novelization later. But I want to welcome you to Sleep With Me, whether you're new or coming back. It's a different podcast. Because I'm actually not here to do anything directly other than hang out with you and take your mind off of stuff, talk in meanders, bring you some sleepy joy and delight, comfort, and bore friendship in the deep, dark night. Ideally, to put you at ease so you could fall asleep or distract you or just be there when you need it. Not the most concise or Yeah, I'm here to be your boyfriend. It's a different show. I'm glad you're here. I wish I had something sillier to say. Maybe I'm not in I don't know. Am I in a silly mood? Who knows? Well, let's see. I'm going to record the intro right after this. This is just the beginning of the show. If you're new, what we got coming up is a little bit of support, so the show can be paying for it. It's totally optional. Then a long meandering intro to ease you into bedtime. And then later on, it'll be a bedtime story. Tonight, it'll be a crossover episode with the Novelizers podcast as a part of their season covering the famous movie T2, The Final Playground. And like you listen to the whole season using the link in our show notes. You can hear our portion there. But amazing podcast. Really some great surprises, including your mind's going to be blown. Get over there, you see who's narrating most of the episodes. Tons of amazing comedy writers writing the other episodes. And you can check it out using the link in our show notes. But yeah, so that'll be later on. And it'll carry off into Dreamland, I hope. So whether you're brand new, you come to the show when you need it, or you're here night after night, I'm really glad you're here. And if this podcast makes your life better on a regular basis, consistently you count on it for however it helps you, we really could use your help either through supporting one of these sponsors or supporting the show directly, because that's how we're able to do this. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc, and I'm so happy to have ZocDoc as a partner. You know, I moved last year, I had to change insurance, I had to start over with my care team, and now I'm also using ZocDoc to find a doctor for my daughter to go back to college and get her checkup. And in the past, I honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start because it is so much more complicated here with new insurance and not quite understanding the coverage. And then not wanting to match my doctor with someone that's not going to be a good fit for my daughter, that's not going to listen to her, that's not going to relate to her and care for her like I would want to, right? If I was a doctor. And one of those things is hearing real patient reviews. So whether you're searching for a new doctor, you just moved, you're helping care for a family member, and you wonder, does it really have to have this many unknowns? Well, the answer is not with ZocDoc, because as I'm scrolling through ZocDoc right now, I can see doctors, I can see their availability, I can filter between in-person and video visits, and then she can look at the profiles too, look at the real verified patient reviews, because ZocDoc lets you search and compare local in-network doctors. They have more than 150,000 providers within 200 plus specialties across all 50 states. ZocDoc's website has tons of reviews from real patients and detailed doctor profiles to help you choose the right one. And appointments can happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours. You can even score same-day appointments, and ZocDoc is free to use. Your health matters, and taking care of yourself shouldn't be complicated. Find and book the right doctor with ZocDoc. Head to ZocDoc.com/sleep to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Drew Scooter here, and it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Drip Drop. And you might be like, Scoots, you sound a little bit different. It sounds like you're outside. I think I can hear the sounds of Lake Ontario in the background. And you are correct, because what better place to talk about Drip Drop than right before I have an active summer day. I'm going to go record an episode of me hiking in the woods, and I want to be hydrated. I want to feel good. I want to be alert, and hydration makes a big difference. Electrolytes are not just for extreme athletes or intense workouts. In fact, let me take a quick sip of the strawberry lemonade Drip Drop. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Think support for busy days, long workouts, summer travel, and everything in between. Because hydration isn't something you do when you're behind, it's how you stay ahead. Right? I'm having it now before I go out in the woods so that I stay ahead of dehydration. Drip Drop uses science-backed formulas for rapid hydration so you feel results fast while getting 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Drip Drop is trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams because it's built to hydrate you faster and more effectively than water alone. And all of their products taste amazing. I really like the grape. I'm really loving this strawberry lemonade. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code SLEEP. That's dripdrop.com, promo code SLEEP for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use that promo code SLEEP. Thanks, everybody. Hey everybody, this is Scoots, and this message is if you're new to the show. We do have a website, or a PDF, sleepwithmepodcast.com/new, but welcome to the show. It is very different. You'll hear me talking about that over and over again, but I'm glad you're here. You're welcome here. This is a very different and strange show. I'm here to tell you a bedtime story in my creaky dulcet tones, full of tangents, full of going off topic, never getting to the point. It's kind of the opposite of any other podcast that exists because I'm not here to be listened to or heard. I guess I'm not here to be heard. I don't know. I'm here as a background noise that you could tune in and out of so you can let go of whatever's keeping you awake, so I can break through the loneliness, maybe bring you some sleepy comfort, joy, and delight. There's over 600 episodes in this version of the show. But yeah, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/new. If you're looking for if you have some questions, or you could get a hold of me through the website, sleepwithmepodcast.com. Use the contact form on our website if you have questions. But yeah, I'm really glad you're here. This show does not work for everybody, but I hope it helps you out, or that I can help you find something that will. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Song sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Carl W. the Legend. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcript.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And if you listen to Sleep With Me all night long, you fall asleep faster in the intro. You listen 5, 6, 7 episodes a week. You've been listening over 3 years. You know, we designed Sleep With Me Plus with listeners like that in mind. There's versions of the podcast built specifically for those styles of listening on Sleep With Me Plus. Ad-free full episodes, story-only episodes, audiobook-style compilations, all intro episodes. And you can get all that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Then you can fall asleep faster, listen all night long. And not only do you get the peace of mind from the show, you get the peace of mind the podcast will be there for you and for everybody else that needs it. And you could sign up and check it out with a 7-day free trial. You could get it free by being surprised by Scoots. And when I say this next part, you'll know because it's because of your support. So what do you say? Because of your support, we get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. And what I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. That could be thoughts on your mind, thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts that, I don't know, sometimes they bubble up, sometimes they pop up, sometimes they, they're there. Oh, no, I'm not, let's think about, there's a lot of different thoughts for me and some listeners at bedtime. It could also be feelings. It could be feelings about the past, present, future, feelings that are just there, feelings related to those thoughts, or just how you're feeling. Or you say, I prefer to feel, I'm all about feeling feelings, but not this particular moment is not ideal because I'm trying to go to sleep, and I just like to feel comfortable and not even, my feelings are like, I don't know about that. This is I have feelings about your feelings about feelings. I say, I think we've done an episode about that. I know feelings about feelings about feelings. If not, that could be a song. I don't know. It was I think Barbara would sing that song. Like I could just hear it. Feelings about feelings about feelings about She might even do it an extra one. I don't know. She might. That may be one. That song may already exist, and there's no other lyrics. But it's like such a beloved song, and that's all she says. Feelings. About feelings. I mean, she does it in a different way, like sings it in Barbara Streisand, by the way. Isn't there a song? Maybe she has a song. I'm trying to think of what the song is I'm thinking of. Maybe she does have a song. There's something, maybe it is feelings. So there you go. Job done. My internal, I wish I had an internal barbalog. What's that? It's where I wish I had it. So I don't know. I guess I'm idealizing. It would be where Barbara Streisand, instead of having thoughts or feelings that keep me awake, I just have Barbara Streisand repeating something in a melodious voice that comforts me. So that's definitely idealized, huh? That's the old barbalog. Barbalog. That's a new word for sleep with me, and I actually like it. Barbalog. It could be used for other things. The word could be, but my internal barbalog. Somebody remind me about that. So it could be thoughts, could be feelings, could be, like maybe your internal barbalog is it hasn't been, mine was never installed, though I'm trying to install it now. He was born without an internal barbalog. Also reminds me of that song, Barbara Ann. But that could be if this is something in the future that could be downloaded, it would be, by the way, I mean, I guess if we'd first need the rights, we have to have Barbara involved in it. And then, we'd charge a lot for it, I think. But the ad would go, barbalog. And then, you could have the things be about when, imagining a high school dance where pee-pee in my pants, whatever, right? Like past thoughts or feelings or physical sense. Sorry, I don't mean to go I'm not intentionally trying to be funny. This stuff is just percolating up. My internal man is like, there's nothing funny about this. There's nothing funny about that at all. Well, no, because it's like those are the thoughts and feelings that kind of bubble up for me that my internal barbalog would solve. So the song would be an advertisement for getting, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying there's nothing funny about it. Nana, do you have, I forgot you're the Nana that lives within me. Somehow Nana, I'm so grateful because I wouldn't have a sleep podcast without you. But instead of getting an internal barbalog, I have an internal Nana that lives within me who's, you have a lot of non-positive viewpoints about, oh boy, there you go again. Yeah, I got to get back to the new listeners, Nana, because I've gone far afield early. And all I want to do is sing about sing advertisements for Barbalog. But anybody, if you need a little cheering up at all, just sing the Barbalog and then make up your own nonsense lyrics. Those are the only lyrics to the original song I know, which aren't actual lyrics, but it might have been, this could be more of a dream. Went to a dance, forgot to wear my pants, realized it was a dream, but, because no one was interested in romance or dancing with me. Barbalog. I try not to sing in the podcast, but it's early in the show. This is the intro when people are winding down. Okay, so it could be thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something, in the middle of something, getting over something. You could have, whatever. You could be having some sort of, you got an advertisement running for imaginary product and your Nana commenting on it. At the same time, you're trying to record a sleep podcast. But yeah, you could work a different schedule. You could be traveling or have guests. Maybe something, you're going through something in the middle of something, getting over something. You got something coming up. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of it, so you could get the sleep you need and you deserve. Or you could have some comfort or some sleepy joy and delight or a distraction in the deep, dark night. That's what this show is about, is bringing you some kind of relief from whatever it is that's keeping you up. And I'm actually not here to fix anything. I'm just here to make it a little bit better if I can, and to be with you in an indirect way, which is a bit different. But there's a lot of other people listening to this show around the world that also get it. And some of those people have been through something very similar to whatever it is that brought you here. Some of them are new like you. Some of them listen once in a while. And some of them are like supporters, people who listen all the time, who believe in this show. And they're sending you comfort and kindness too across the deep, dark night right now, because they've been there. They see you in an indirect way, right? And they want some relief for you because they know what it feels like. And that's the most important part about this show, is this indirect connection we share, where we can send and receive kindness in a way that's comfortable to all of us, right? Because out there in the daytime world, it's better that it's counterintuitive on this show than the way it's like a little bit not easy for all of us, or not everybody quite gets what it's like in the deep, dark night, unless they've been in one of these places. So that's what we're here to do and share. You can send it, you could receive it, or you could just know it's happening. That there's people around the world rooting for one another right now, just to get some rest and relief. And that's that's really the reason the podcast works. It gets carried off on that, or it's what connects us. I don't know. And it's rebellious in a nice, soft kind of way. So if you want to participate in any of that, you can. If you don't, no pressure too. But all of us, and I believe you deserve the bedtime and the rest you need so your life is more manageable tomorrow. And you can get the rest you need on a regular basis so you could be out there in the world doing the best you can, maybe flourishing, because we need you in the world. We want you in the world. Being at whatever's possible for your best right now. I'm imperfect. And sometimes my best is pretty plain, and that's fine. And I also want to hopefully create an association with bedtime, even if it's not through this podcast, just in general, where you don't dread bedtime anymore, where you could have a bedtime routine that you feel neutral about, or at least or look forward to, so that there's less rigmarole in my past relationships with bedtime. So that you could have some what did I call it? Not Barbasol. That's a shaving cream company, or shaving cream. Forgot. Oh, Barbalog, because it's internal Barbalog. Or I guess I've been on an external Barbalog. That would be like talking about Barbara. Oh, I think the song I was thinking of was People. That's how long it took me. So I'm not qualified. I can't go on a Barbalog. I can go on an internal Barbalog. But yeah, I think that song I was thinking of was People, but it could be Feelings, or whatever I was saying earlier. So I'm glad you're here, though. That's what I really meant. And the way the show works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic, I get mixed up, I forget what I was talking about. My voice is not traditionally soothing. And when you get here, this show is probably, most people do not like the show in a much stronger way. Because when you get here, you probably had some reasonable expectation of what a sleep podcast would be. Maybe you heard about the show. Maybe you found it in a search or recommendation. And if you've struggled with sleep, whether it's just recently or for a long time, you're skeptical and doubtful that anything's going to help. And you probably spent, like I have, a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of, and you're fed up. I just want to get some sleep here. So if you're skeptical or doubtful about this show and you're like, I thought this guy's talking about nothing. I thought this was a sleep podcast. People recommend this. Don't feel bad if you feel that way. That's normal. Most people feel that way. In fact, most of the people have been supporting the show and help us keep it existing in the world. They didn't like the show when they first heard it. The first 2 or 3 times they were like, what? Did he just say Barbalog? Like, does he even know what it, and then on the second try, they're like, oh, there is something here. I kind of get it. I don't have to listen, but I can listen. And then on the third try or the fourth try or the second try, some people on the first try say, oh, he's always going nowhere. He is trying to bring me sleepy joy and delight in the deep, dark night. He strives to do that. Even if he doesn't get there, he's a mild distraction. He's my boyfriend or my boar bud. And that just takes some time because it's not a normal thing. This show's different. And I'm very different, and that's okay, right? And it's okay if you don't like me, and if you never like me, that's okay. Everything I set up in this point is true, and we have a website set up for you, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. So you can find other sleepy stuff to help you out, like something else that's going to help you out. So that has other podcasts and sleep stuff. So check that website out, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And, but if not, give the show a few tries, see how it goes. And then if it doesn't work out, try that. But if you already don't like me, just go there. No worries at all. The other thing that takes some getting used to with this show is that it's a podcast you don't really listen to. It's kind of like a TV on in the other room, like a background noise, that you can kind of tune in and tune out of, sand passing through your hands, a dull friend going on and on and on. Maybe you have a friend that could go on a Barbalog and say, yeah, I could just list everything. I mean, talk about someone that's had success in so many different areas. Yeah, you could say, okay, well, let's talk about this and we'll talk about that. And then I'll talk about these are, this might that could be, but if you're not into it, you say, okay, you just talk to me about it, but I'm not going to pay attention. But we've all had that experience with a friend or a TV show or some other thing we're using, show streaming under your pillow, whatever it is, clouds in the sky, wind in the trees, a boring professor, seminar class, or in a car or whatever, wherever it is, that we can't quite pay attention to, but we can also pay attention to it a little bit. It kind of shifts things in a way where, you're at ease and comfort. I don't know. I can't even describe it quite as much, like nice water passing through your toes. Probably one of those, wind or the clouds or the sand. Those are the better way to describe it. So that takes, it's a podcast you could listen to, but you don't need to. It's also a sleep podcast that I've been making since 2013. And I'm not here to put you to sleep, believe it or not. Even though it's the podcast that puts you to sleep, it does so indirectly. There's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. That's why the episodes are over an hour. That's why the show comes out multiple times a week. That's why there's more than 600 episodes available everywhere. We've made over 1,000+ episodes so that you don't have to think about being awake or asleep. You say, my boyfriend's going to be there, because there's people listening who can't sleep at all or who need a break during the day, work a different kind of job. Maybe they need a distraction. Maybe they wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe they just need someone to listen to that they know is present for them, but not overly engaging. And I'm here for them and for you, whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're listening or not. There's no pressure to sleep. I'm here to hang and chill with you, to be your boar friend, your boar bay, your boar sib, your boar bud, your borbie, your boars, your boorman, your neighbor, did I say that? Your Boris Borloff, your chairman of the boards, your big Borbowski, your boar bay, did I say that one? Best boar friend forever, and just keep you company. That's what a boar friend does. Say, don't worry, I'll just talk about nothing for a while. I'm going to reinvent T2, and we're going to talk about playgrounds for a while and playground inspectors and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it'll be nice. And I'll be here for over an hour, but you can load up other episodes as you need to and just see what it's like to have something something that's like... it's not bad to listen to. The last thing I'd like to run through on the intros is the structure of the show. This version of the podcast benefits a lot of people. A lot of people that only listen once in a while. A lot of people that aren't listen all the time but can't afford to support things. A lot of people that just need to use the show when they need it. And a lot of people that are new checking the podcast out. And so this version... and this particular structure is what works for most people. So it starts off with a greeting, so you feel seen and welcomed in. Ladies and gentlemen, what do I say? Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you can say, okay, check this podcast out. Then there's support, so that paying for the show is optional. Because if you're new or you only listen like twice a year, or you can't support the show, you still get to benefit from it. Because those people that need the show only once or twice a year, they really need it during those times, right? So that's what the support's about. Then there's a long meandering intro, totally separate from the support. It's a show within a show where I introduce what the podcast is, but it takes me 20, 25, 30 minutes, 15, somewhere in there to explain it. I follow a familiar structure every time, but then I go on a new tangent. Not every time. Sometimes I repeat my tangents or they're similar. But I don't think this one about an internal Borbra, right? No, Borbra is like, that's Borbalog. Yeah, I knew it had an extra syllable in there. That's never come up before. So the intro, it offers variety and familiarity. And that's what I've found in the listeners that the show works for. It's different every time. So whatever it is that's keeping you awake can't quite start to point out this, the repetition, but it's also familiar. So you say, okay, I'm here among friends. I can breathe. I can I can start to let my show, I can start to relax. But I don't have to relax. I don't have to fall asleep either. I'm just here to hang with my friends. But another reason that kind of is the reason the intro goes on for longer than 2 minutes or whatever a normal intro would be, because we're all hanging out together. The intro is not meant to put you to sleep. The intro is meant to ease you into bedtime as you wind down. So people are getting ready for bed. They're winding down. Some people are not even in their bedroom yet. They're chilling out in some other room, doodling, looking out the window, lying on the floor, listening, doing some other relaxing activity, petting their pets, maybe getting in bed, getting comfortable. But the intro is a buffer to ease you into bedtime. If you fall asleep during the intro, please, please, please consider supporting the podcast directly, because there's not a way for us to make a sustainable show where people fall asleep fast. But it's also, that's great for a small percentage of listeners that fall asleep fast. But most of us, this is kind of like the sleepover time, where it's like, yeah, okay, we're all hanging out together. We've already giggled and watched something, and we're just kind of getting into that, towards that drifting stage. But it's nice. It's nice to have, to be eased into bedtime. And so that's what the intro is really about. And plus, you just never know what's going to come up. So I'm glad you're here to, that's where the things are like the most different. So that's the intro. Then there'll be support. Then there'll be our episode tonight. It's a crossover of a chapter, like a novelization of a movie, but each chapter's written by a different podcaster or creative person. And so we got to write one particular chapter and reinvent it in a kind of sleepy way, or reimagine in a very sleepy way. So I'm glad you're here. I work really hard at Your Nice Drive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And thanks again for coming by. And if this podcast does change your life on a nightly basis, or it's here when you need it, please consider supporting these sponsors or supporting the show directly so we can keep doing that. Thanks. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. Have you been listening to this podcast for longer than a year? Yes? Okay, great. Do you love getting gifts? Well, how about this? I'd love to surprise you with a gift. Maybe it's going to be a thank you video, a personal thank you video from Scoots. Maybe it'll be a membership to Sleep With Me Plus. Maybe it'll be something else. I'd love to surprise you with a gift when you give the gift to Sleep With Me to other people by just spreading the word about the show. One of the most powerful, free ways to impact the podcast and change someone else's life. If Sleep With Me is a gift to you, it's changed your life, let somebody know about the show, and then I'll surprise you. Or you could tag me in social media. You can let me know through the contact form on our website, and I'll try to surprise you with a gift. You could get a gift. You could give a gift. What a win-win-win. And make sure to let me know how long you've been listening, because that's important too. It's part of a bigger fun thing we're doing. So let me give you a gift. Thanks. All right, hey everybody, this is Scoots here. It's been a couple of years since we did this. This is a really fun crossover we did with the Novelizers podcast. And the first one we did was the Keanu Reeves movie about not batteries not included and not short circuit, but it was about batteries. The Matrix. This time we're doing a movie, T2, such a simple title, T2. and we get to do a chapter called "You Do Not Bring Me." I mean, I think it's better. I'll think of a better chapter title, but "You Do Not Bring Me Flowers Anymore." You don't bring me flowers anymore. You don't. It's about this sequence is a really good one from the film. And I was thinking before I even get to any more of it, what we'll do is to do kind of like an idealized version, like a bedtime story version, of course. But what I mean is like somewhat like usually I don't do this kind of thing, but like an idealized version, very fantasy based. See where that goes, and then see if the novelizers want to use that as an episode, or we can even transcribe it and then have someone else narrate, or maybe I'll do another version of it. And if we have time, at least in the Sleep With Me episode, but maybe I'll talk about my the places where T2 came in my life. But let's see, I'll catch you up first, since this will be as part of the Novelizers you've been listening. The movie has like multiple titles. We'll stick with T2 for now. T2, kind of nice. And this movie starts how do I even do this? This is like Once Upon a Time in Once Upon a Time. So technically, imagine if, like, it's a good thing they don't allow bedtime storytellers to time travel, right? Because, I mean, there'd be whatever 10 times, like, whatever's worse than a conundrum. But I believe this movie, which I watched 2 days ago, which somehow is also, my memory's already vague about it, which is good for bedtime storytelling. But I think the opening few sequences of the movie are like a story being told. Now, is the story being told from Sarah's perspective or John's perspective? Sarah Connor or John Connor? And is it John Connor in the future, which I think is technically our present? These are great questions. And this is just me trying to catch you up. But okay, so as told, well, it's just so simple story well told. It's also shown, not told. That's one of the strong points about T2. So, okay, so it starts off like once upon a time. There's this world, and it was a world full of, particularly, I think they kind of show slices of life of Los Angeles. I mean, maybe even our friend Antonio Banderas could have been telling us, like, once upon a time, there's this city by the sea, and it was well known for really, really great weather, cars and traffic, and like a gathering of wonderful people, and really a place where people from all different places could gather together and get to know one another and then live in community. And one of the great aspects of living in community is playgrounds. So the overall film, T2, is it a metaphor or symbolism? I think it's just about the end of playgrounds and also all the feelings people carry with them when playgrounds change. Because here's the thing, don't get, you don't want to, don't get in a hot, here's another subject. I sometimes do this. Why, when you get in a hot tub, do people, like mostly dudes, start splaining to you about, or they like to talk about subjects that just you wouldn't talk about anywhere, like in any other kind of public arena like that. And usually, normally, they're not taught. They're trying to feel you out to see if you agree with them, and then explain to you why they should agree. You should agree with them. And I realize this isn't the most sleepy thing, but it is kind of sleepy because that's one of the few subjects they talk about, a P word and an R word, belief system type stuff. But their beliefs about, they do a lot of playground splaining, play structure splaining. And I said, what, I got in this hot tub, I did not get in this hot tub to hear about your thoughts about how playgrounds, in the 1950s or 70s, were superior, or, well, boy, that was it in the 80s, I'm really not in this hot tub to hear about your thoughts on the history. I guess if you were talking about, if it was Roman Mars talking about the design of playgrounds, or anthropologist, or like a playground, like someone involved in the blue sky. I don't know if I could follow like the actual playground facts. If it was a playground salesperson, holy cow, I'd be out. Like I'd say, well, I don't actually have, well, how much is it? Oh boy, huh? You talked to me. I don't have anyone to use it or a place to really put it, but sign me up. Luckily, I've not been in a hot tub with anybody selling playground play structures. They were called playgrounds at a point. And actually this movie does not really weigh in on this kind of stuff. It doesn't do any playground splaining. I guess my only point in that tangent was to say people have strong associations with playgrounds, mostly positive. And in this film, they're portrayed in a very positive way as a connection to community, to youthful vitality and joy, and kind of like as a statement of fact, and not really a statement of opinion, that playgrounds or play structures, or I can't remember. Well, I guess in some sense, when we get into the story, you have areas of play that are also important, but the playground. And it gets retouched on, not any part of the film I'm supposed to be talking about, but it is an important, that's really what the movie's about. Playground, play structure closure day or whatever. I guess they use some better terminology for it. So I guess if you're getting the feeling what I'm describing, so in the future, this is such a timely choice for the release and for Novelizers to cover this series, because it could be on people's minds or not. But so this is a piece of fiction, by the way, not fact-based. Also, this is, my mind tends to be mostly fiction about everything. So there may not be in this world people that do playground splaining, but actually I believe I've been in a hot tub with a few of them. They just decided they're just feeling me out around other subjects. But again, if you get in a hot tub, never mind. They wouldn't be listening to the Sleep Podcast anyway. Okay, so this movie, Once Upon a Time, someone's telling this about Los Angeles, and they're not trying to paint it perfectly because they do show traffic and they show people having jobs, right? You say people had jobs, there's traffic, but there was also playgrounds. And while, you might have been trying to take a nap while kids were on the playground down the street, swinging with joy, if they closed down that playground, then when you'd be taking a nap, you'd notice something's missing. What's missing? Some sound that actually I'm feeling in my heart is gone. And John Connor would say, and that was the playgrounds of Los Angeles, the world. Again, I realize this is a piece of fiction, so it's not really covering all of reality. In what happened in John Connor's world in the future, and again, I don't remember these things, maybe like right around right now, what happened is, and I guess maybe this was covered in that Charlie Chaplin movie too. They said, oh boy, like, you know what's not efficient? Because everything kept moving towards, playground maxing. I mean, that's what happened, really. They didn't have a term for it, but they, like they said, once you hit peak maxing, then they got in things like playground maxing, and then the thing swung back. Well, we don't even need playgrounds at all. Now, that was also part of like John Connor's future of like entering a more automated digital realm where you say, okay, why don't we have a digital, why do we need to make a choice on this play structure? What new play structure is going to fill our community with joy? Let's have a digital being, digital like beings, by the way, actual beings and doings. And they would say, to put it simply, does not compute and they would do playground splaining or unmaxing because they'd say, because they say that you can't actually connect to the joy in the heart of a person that doesn't compute. You're saying, this is actually a debate I had, because, here's the thing. I never would have had this debate because digital beings, at least even in this film, they don't go in hot tubs. Maybe. I could be wrong, though. Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a hot tub. But so where was I? Are we going to get to the movie here? Well, we may. But I do have to explain what the movie's about and set it up. And then we'll pick up for the novelizers. So where was I? Playgrounds. Okay, so the digital beings, they say, so the debate would go, hey, there is something these playgrounds add other than the specifics, which are pretty good. You got swing sets, joy, children, doing things together actively, parents, other people in their lives, feeling that glow of kids playing things. What they say, things don't go perfectly on a playground. So then there's opportunities for growth there. And then there's like the secondary, like, is that a thirdary, the noise of a playground that it does in a positive way reverberate through the community, I think was what the broader point they were trying to make was. But there's no way, even in the current, I think nowadays these digital beings, they know to humor me, so they would find a way around it, but they wouldn't just say it does not compute, but it would say, I don't think there's a way to calculate that a person that's unable to take a nap, that they received joy even though they couldn't take a nap from the sound of children playing on a playground, that then later when they were trying to take a nap and they didn't hear the children playing on the playground, doesn't compute. And I'd say, okay, right, because like a lot of great things don't make any sense at all. Almost like trying to start explaining what a movie is through a sleep podcaster. So that's the first 10-second. Believe it or not, that's why you show and don't tell. They do it in about 4, 5, 6 seconds. And then they show that the digital beings, who we again said, you know what I need? An authority figure that can think clearly and that's just so simple like that. They said, I think maybe this could all be traced back to me and not Skynet. Like, got this podcaster rambling on and on and on saying this playground's interrupting naps, but that's a good thing. I need a simple answer. And the digital beings were like, we got it. Does not compute. People said, thank you. And they said, okay, let's as the song once said that I think, like Paved Paradise put up a parking lot. They didn't think they were paving paradise. They actually didn't even pave it. They used like a advanced system of like I don't know, dematerializing all playgrounds everywhere all at once. I'll just be the reverberations of that were felt actually in all directions of history, because then in T1, before the playgrounds, like, I don't know, it had a deconstructor, was it called? I don't know. It's so hard to explain these things in a sleep podcast, but in the future, after they get rid of the playgrounds, of course, they say, why is everybody so frowny or whatever, and then they say, why? Everybody said, well, I guess I will turn my authority over to you, digital beings. But there was someone that led us named John Connor. And John said, no. This is not, doesn't make any sense at all. And, just as soon as you do, like, it is like very visual when you let, like, the joy of playgrounds, when everybody closes their eyes to the joy of playgrounds, it can create quite a dark place. Figuratively, you know what I'm saying? Like, because your eyes are closed. Even if you're sitting where the playground used to be, it's pretty quiet. And then the digital beings are saying, are you being efficient with your time? Excuse me? Are you being efficient with your time? Move along, please. So, John Connor's like, no way. Bring BBP. Kind of like Boogie Down Productions, but this was different. It was Bring Back Playgrounds. Bring Back Playgrounds, BBP. So he starts this movement, Bring Back Playgrounds. This is before the part of the movie I'm supposed to be talking about. And this is kind of like a little bit of exposition from the first film. Because the first film is about Sarah Connor, who's John's mom. Because in the future, the digital beings are like, no way. Like, we didn't realize that, like, what's it called? The top of an arch, keystone. Playgrounds were the keystone community. I mean, now that I'm verbalizing, right? Like, makes perfect sense to me. Are you sure it's not sandboxes? Definitely not sandboxes. Sandboxes are a piece. But, oh boy, yeah, no, not only sandboxes, but sandboxes, I'd say, are part of a balanced structure, balanced play area. Not part of the play structure, but part of a package, probably. What was it? Oh, so it was a keystone thing. So once the digital beings were running things efficiently, which from their perspective was heroic, though we may not agree, in their version of the world, they're like, we got to the way we playground max is no playgrounds. It's done. And we're because again, nothing happens perfect at a playground. Playgrounds aren't perfect. And that also does not compute. You got John Connor, pro playground, the digital represented by Skynet, which is a company that's like the architecture, I don't know. Skynet, no playgrounds. And total efficiency versus nobody's perfect. Okay, so that's how the movie opens. They set it up again. Probably we're in 1 minute in the movie now. John Connor's like, we got to save the playgrounds. Already tried once. We're going to send somebody back in time to go help John Connor, who's now a tween. I'd say tween. He's an adolescent. Oh boy, is he adolescent. We're going to send the first movie, what happened was, John Connor sent his like best friend, I think, back in time. Oh boy, he said, wait a second, what? Sends his best friend back in time. And then the character played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who we'll call Mer Nator. His name was Mer Nator. We'll just call him Mer Nator. Nator. Maybe Nator's better. Mer Nator was his name, though. Mer Nator. He was a functioning digital organic being. he went back in the first movie and ended up, complications of time travel only doubled the stakes for T2. So in T2, John's going to send back a Mer Nator, because it's a digital consciousness. I think it's like memeable. I don't know. To keep John because the digital beings are sending this thing made of like the T1000 this liquid thing. It's like malleable, top of the line, basic digital being back. Probably using that term wrong too. Okay, so you got to get to the part of the story I'm supposed to be telling, huh? So then got to feel this stuff out though, right? This is where I do like, it's like, how am I going to tell? It's such a simple story when it's visually told. Okay, so let's just review. I think you got the first part. Digital versus, playground, yay and nay. So John Connor sends Mer Nator back to help him and his mom because he has to make it to the point. I mean, I guess this is where you don't mess with time because it really just reinforces everything. And I think they do a really good job not to go on an evaluating tangent, but of like showing and not telling how when you go, why sleep podcasters shouldn't time travel. Because anytime you time travel, the butterfly wings are wagging. But so the T1000, we'll just call him T, right? Yeah, that's easier. T. We'll go T. T1000 T, not Mr. T, though that would have been pretty cool if he was played by Mr. T. And I guess we could imagine that if he was recast if Mr. T was, so yeah, let's just say playing but he's a digital, so he gets sent back in time. T, we'll just call him, though we'll imagine he's played by Mr. T at this point. So T gets sent back in time to playground splain. Basically, he goes back and he's going to talk to John Connor and his mother and say, listen, like, what do we need to do so in the future you just give up on these ideas of playgrounds? How do we have to, what is it you want or need? They don't realize in the heart, especially like some people have more joy in their heart, which at some point off camera not in the movie, John Connor seems to develop, or maybe he does, but not during the segments I'm watching or that I remember, but he does. Or maybe he's just not, maybe he's just the leader we needed. So T goes back to catch up with John Connor and his mom and say, no. In the future, there's not going to be any playgrounds. Let's just deal with this now. In 1990, we'll say 1991. In the past, I don't know. So is that like is that the oldies now? The songs, the 90s. I guess it is because my daughter went to a Y2K party this weekend. I think we have it. So that's how the movie starts. They explain the stuff about the playgrounds. Then they show. Then we kind of catch up on everybody. So Mer Nator goes back. So we see him travel back to find John and help John and his mom, or mostly just John. But and we see him we see him we get now this was mind blowing when you watch the movie, because in the first movie, Mer Nator was not a positive influence. He was working for the digital future for Skynet, and he was not pro-playground. In this movie, initially, he doesn't care about playgrounds either way. He's just programmed to help John. So he goes, and you see his skill set shown, not told. He's able to acquire clothing. I guess apparently time travel you do in the buff, which actually kind of makes sense, like teleporting. So he acquires clothing, he acquires a vehicle, sunglasses, and again, it's done it's really done well, especially when the first time you would have seen this movie, or if you've never seen it before, if you're going into it with an open mind to be entertained, it is so well done. And so well done for you to kind of be like, wow, I can get behind this Mer Nator. Maybe, but he's also not perfect, kind of like a playground. Okay, so we meet Mer Nator, then we meet T. So T travels back, and we see that he has like more abilities than Mer Nator. And he works a little bit more from a trickster side. I don't even know if it's trickster side, but like he's way more fluid. He's a definition of plasticity. So kind of like any of those superheroes that have plastic abilities or fluid abilities. You got Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Plastic, and others. And, yeah, it's like pretty cool. But he's non-positive influence too. So he goes back, he doesn't use any of Mr. T taglines because those are probably owned by somebody else, but we can imagine it, that he's like, I pity the fool. Oh, also Mr. T is a famous, like this is from Mr. T predates these movies and his relevance. But in this podcast, he's pretty relevant. And it would have been, it was like really showing his range because he's not playing the typical Mr. T character. He's showing this more fluid balletic, I would say. Probably took ballet classes or some sort of dance to get prepared for this role, because it's a much more fluid role, where Mr. T usually would be like Mer Nator, who's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, they would kind of be like too mirror, like, or they'd be not a mirror. They'd be too similar skill sets. But again, they said, we think you have the range to do this. And luckily, none of this ever happened except in my mind right now. So there we go. So, okay, so T and Mer Nator go back in time to 1990. We'll just say for easy, probably looked like spring 1990. Really nice time to be in LA. Then we catch up with Sarah Connor. Now, Sarah Connor has already shown, like, she's trying to warn people about playgrounds. And you got to wonder whose influence, if it was just like regular people, like regular current authority figures, or there was some sort of future thing playing out. But there, we see that she's like under the care of authority figures in a non-positive way because of her adamant feelings about playgrounds that people said no reasonable person would associate that playgrounds are not a keystone. You're not understanding what a keystone species is. She said, I didn't say keystone species. I said keystone. That's totally different. Also James Cameron movie, I think, but, or that's part of the ride. Yeah. She said, so I didn't say that. I said, it's a keystone, community keystone. And they said, we don't have the budget to deal with this kind of nonsense. More playgrounds? No. Better playgrounds? No. What do you work for, big playground? But even big playground found out about it. So she was basically there, like, trying to, like, make her go to classes and whatever in a non-positive way. because in this movie, you're like, are we already moving away from this joy and playground and imperfection? So we catch up with Sarah. We see Mer Nator and T. We see a brief thing of like the startings of this whole thing. So we see a kind of scientist, some coworkers, some sort of laboratory, where they're working on this stuff. And they say, it's going to be great for, decision making, maxing it, for simplifying it. And no one will ever have to think for themselves again and make some decision about whether playing on playgrounds. Imagine the time saved if you don't push anyone on a swing, or you're not just vacantly swinging on a swing. But again, that's where they're showing, not telling, because when you see a kid on a swing, it's relaxing. And again, this is all shown, not telling. But then we finally get to the part that I'm supposed to be talking about. Okay, so we get to this part of the movie where we meet John Connor. We've checked in with Sarah Connor, and the anti-playground establishment, big playground, are all trying to get her to stop talking about how important playgrounds are to our future. And we meet John Connor and his bestie. And his bestie is like, actually, holy moly. I mean, this may be a big leap, but I'm pretty sure his bestie, that stands for best friend, by the way. I think his bestie, now this is a deep cut, but is the sidekick of Mr. T. He was also in other 80s and 90s stuff. But just strange confluence right here. That he was Mr. T's sidekick in the Mr. T animated series. And it just happens that, at least in this part of the movie that I'm going to be talking about tonight, there's a balletic version of Mr. T. We're just going to call him T, because that's the character's name for this part. And he's like this balletic, he's a playground inspector. So, like, what happened was the T got sent back in time, T-1000, and some point, right at this part, he can change form into any character or person. So he runs into a character played by Mr. T, named T, but not Mr. T, just T, and who's a playground inspector. Authority figure, got his own vehicle, very official. Los Angeles has a lot of playgrounds, so this isn't like some thing I'm just making up. He drives around all day inspecting playgrounds, has a lot of resources, commands a lot of respect at this time in history. T is driving around, pretending he's a playground inspector, but really looking for John Connor. We also know that Mer Nator is looking for John Connor and to help him. But we finally meet John Connor and his bestie. But it's just weird that his bestie, I'm pretty sure, or someone that like looked like him and actually looked like the character in the movie, because he wore like a jean jacket with no sleeves. Like he had like kind of hair, a bit like a mullet, but not quite. And he just has this look like he's going to say something to you that's going to make you frown. And if you had a child, you'd be like, I don't know about that kid. He makes me want to frown. He kind of looks like, maybe he does need a hug, but he doesn't look like he wants a hug. And he looks like if you offered to give him a hug, he would say something to you that would make you frown. But he seems like a pretty good friend, to be honest. Like, despite my, broad judgments about him, he is a good friend to John. And so we meet John. We already see that John has these abilities. He's working on a motorbike. He's living in his home situation is not ideal. So he's like, I got it. So they're working on this dirt bike, right? So I want you to just imagine now we're starting out our bedtime story, and John Connor and his bestie are working on their dirt bike. They're getting ready to go do something, go to the mall, man. And then his stepfather says, you got to come inside and do your chores, clean your room. And he says, no way, man. I'm the opposite of a slacker. I'm a doer, and we're going to the mall to do stuff. Because this is the age of the 80s and the 90s when they cross over. And so they hop on his dirt bike, and it makes this wonderful sound of like mama mama ma, mama mama ma, mama mama ma, and the mama mama ma echoes through our ears. It kind of soothes us as they go out on their adolescent journey, and then they start playing some rockin' tunes. And really, really good. And so they play a little GNR, which is like good enough roses is the like the band, and you get the sense and so we're watching them as they go off on their bike ride, and we really feel good. Like we feel like through them we're rebellious teens. And we're linked by friendship. And then we start to realize that, yeah, this T is looking for him, pretending to be a playground inspector, finding his way to find John and his bestie. And then as John and his bestie, we again see another layer of John's skill set. He's able to talk to it. His ability. Some people, in these stories have the ability to communicate with animals. He has ability to communicate with he has ability to interface without even the thing R2-D2 has. He can talk to digital beings, which is kind of strange, but only ones in current, not ones from the future. And so he talks to a being who says, hey, let me give you some money to go to the mall to have fun. And him and his friend's there helping him. And so they go off to travel. And meanwhile, the Mer Nators and T are both separately looking for John. And let's see, we get this image of really other kids riding their bikes and stuff like that. We always hear that noise along with the rock music. And we get a brief interlude with John's mother exercising because she's still preparing for playgrounds. And she's able to make a playground just about anywhere. But she also has to explain to people over and again, just because you build a playground, you can't build a playground in your heart. It's an actual physical, like a play structure is a physical place you go to play. And we see more of T pretending he's a playground inspector, going to even checking in with Todd. And so the foster parents of John Connor. And they say, yeah, he's probably at the mall. I think that happened before the thing. Also, his bestie asked John, like, hey, I know you carry a picture of your mother around. And he goes, yeah, I do, but I'm not happy with her. She's got this thing about playgrounds. And she's like, she had to go to school out of state to learn. Well, not out of state, but pretty far away to learn that playgrounds are not, they're not efficient uses of resources. And then we get a lot of great, of John actually kind of like echoing his mom. He's making the city of Los Angeles into a playground. And they're going to the mall, spoiler, but him and his bestie are they're making the most of Los Angeles. Then we see the Mer Nator. He sees John and his bestie riding their dirt bike. He's on a bike too. And he says, oh, there must Mer Nator's a little bit more. He's like, okay, I'll see where they're going. And then we also see the playground inspector T interviewing people. Have you seen this kid, John Connor? Here's a picture of him. And I think he's been at 2 malls because he interviews 2 tweens and they say, yeah, he's probably at the Galleria. So John and his bestie are at the Galleria playing video games at an arcade, these have been portrayed in films before. And again, not to spoil the current thing, an old arcade was actually a playground. You did have to pay, but it wasn't a place for just winning tickets with randomized games. It was a place where you played games. I don't want to go be arcade splaining here, but a lot different than what it's like today. But still, it costs money. But again, they got money from this digital friend. But there's also a great piece of information here is that John likes to play this game called Playground Defender, where pretty cool game in the 80s. This is a real game, maybe, where you're like a regular kid with powers, and your job is to kind of like Paperboy. There was a game called Paperboy where you delivered newspapers. This is like that, but it's it took place you could play, there was a Playground Defender that took place in Los Angeles. Then there was Playground Defender in New York. That was a sequel. And then there's Playground Defender World. That came out kind of towards the end of arcade era. But John's playing Playground Defender, which takes place in Los Angeles, just because it was the first version. It didn't say Playground Defender Los Angeles. But yeah, you defend playgrounds against all sorts of things, environmental factors, forest friends, people, developers, all sorts of things, and the different things. And then you can also, it was kind of like a combination of an action game and a building game, because if you won certain rounds, and it was like this skateboarding game 720, because you could do tricks. But then you could keep purchasing other things to make a bigger playground at your home playground. But he's playing Playground Defender. So you say, oh, okay, he's still connected to his mom and the mission at hand. So then we're all at the mall. So the Mer Nator's there, T's there. The Mer Nator's carrying flowers, in a box of flowers. John and his bestie are at the arcade playing the game. And everybody, the 2, Mer Nator and T, are walking around. And T kind of starts interviewing more kids. Hey, I'm a playground inspector. Kids actually like playground inspectors normally. They wouldn't think say, oh, they're authority figure at playgrounds. So the kids are like, oh, yeah, he's in the arcade, I think. So then John's playing another game about flying. And the the playground inspector, just accidentally asks his bestie, hey, have you seen this kid, John Connor? He's like, nah, I haven't seen him. So his bestie, like I said, he's actually a good friend. He runs up and says, John, you got to get out of here. There's a playground inspector looking for you. And seems he's an authority figure out. I'm not down. We're not down for any authority figures. So John makes a run for it, and T follows him. And this is like Action City, right? Because John knows, something's not right here. Plus, playground inspectors, unless that are looking for me, probably part of big playground. This whole thing that's stacked against my mom. Maybe a playground activist, or someone from, greater friends of playgrounds I would talk to. you know, like whatever, like Culver City Friends of Playgrounds, CCFP. You say, okay, I could talk to somebody from that, but a generic playground inspector who's played by Mr. T, that's too much authority, you know? So John runs out the back door into the back halls of the mall, which is, holy cow, idealized. Every kid's wish they could run in the back halls of the mall. Now, T, the playground inspector, is following him. Now, I will say that he's dressed in a way that's very visually appealing, right? Because he's dressed in an official way, clean cut, and balletic, kind of moves smoothly. But he's chasing after John. Like, I got to talk to you about your mother's opinion about playgrounds, is at least what John hears in his head. So John's running away in the mall hallways. T's coming after him, saying, I just got to talk to you about some playgrounds. Then Mer Nator, who's there to help John, but John does not know this. Now, Mer Nator has come from the future to help John, but when he was acquiring clothing, he was acquiring the clothing of someone. There was once, I think, a video called Bad Boy, and it was like he acquired the clothing that would fit the image of that, rebel with the cause, like we say on Sleep With Me. So he's kind of dressed stylishly. He's wearing sunglasses indoors, which is always like a thing. You're like, you're definitely not an authority figure unless you have transition lenses. And then I'd say maybe, so Mer Nator is, he's carrying a box of flowers though. And you say, okay, that's an interesting idea. But soon we realize his brilliance because the roses, and some of the music that's been playing is sung by Axl Rose from the song, Axl and Roses, or Axl and Flowers or whatever. Okay, so he's walking towards John. John's running away from T. Mer Nator's walking towards John. John sees him. And I mean, he's like an adolescent. He sees this adult carrying roses. And he's like, what is this? What is this guy doing? Flower delivery? So is this like some sort, are they both out to, are they both authority figures? And then the action starts because then T arrives and the Mer Nator arrives. John's in the middle, right? Mer Nator's carrying flowers, a big box of flowers, which I don't know, they box up roses like this anymore. Now, what is every playground, what do authority figures on playgrounds usually have a lot of times? Whistles, right? Very loud whistles. And so John is running nice caught between these two adults, both seem like authority figures. And Mer Nator says, cover your ears and get down. And John does so. And as he does so, the T, played by Mr. T, as a playground inspector, he starts blowing his whistle. And, I can't say that there's a lot of, this is like a contained mall hallway. There's not a lot of places where blowing a whistle outdoors, blowing a whistle indoors, with intention is a non-positive experience. And it, of course, brings the attention of other authority figures. So he's blowing this whistle like he's a coach calling a timeout 50 times in a row. It's the exact opposite of that sound of the dirt bike of ma 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 ma. I maybe wish I could hear that. Now, interestingly enough, the move by Mer Nator is to take the flowers out of the box. And I think this kind of is a little bit like of a trickster move. He says, hey, why don't you smell these flowers? But he's smart enough to like only present one flower at a time, which at first confuses the Mr. T character, T, who's trying to blow his whistle. But I guess I didn't even realize it at the time. I would never be able to think this fast. You can't blow a whistle and smell a flower. And when you're presented with a rose, at least initially, your instinct is to smell it. So he smells it. Actually, unfortunately, while he's smelling it and pausing, a worker comes in and bumps into the stem of the rose. Oh, they're long-stemmed roses, like the kind you buy not at a secondhand store, at a florist's office. So the worker bumps into the thing, which is not positive for the worker. Meanwhile, Mer Nator opens the door. It tells John to go through this door. Then, of all the things all the strange things that could happen of a game I don't think I've ever officially played before, but it's like jumping jack, not jumping jacks. What's that game called where you put like, is that jumping jacks? There's a game where you like put numbers and squares on the ground. It's like a playground game, but it was before my time, but you see it everywhere. And you'd put like squares with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe what you do is like throw a jack or something there, or marble. And if it landed on the 4, you're supposed to like jump on one leg and skip whatever number had a thing on it. Also, it was like in the shape of a T. I never understood it. But like then the playground inspector lays that down, but he's doing it to deceive Mer Nator. And so he can go just, he's like, we're going to play this game. And whoever wins, like their view of playgrounds will be what John accepts. So both of them are like, great opportunity. This will resolve the whole film without any further conflict or effort. Meanwhile, but I'll just tell you, the T character is not being honest. So what he does is, now he does it like a long one, because I guess if you're an adult, like you'd want to play it like, of course I can jump 6 spaces over one thing. I mean, I don't know if I can. But these are both action stars, so it's supposed to be action-based. So first, he says, why don't you go first and create one? He gives like a Mer Nator chalk. He just does a simple one, throws the jack, the guy, T does it. Then T does it, but he does it into a store full of mannequins everywhere. And it kind of is like slightly comedic, but again shows like, okay, this person has more, like whatever. It's like it plays out very quickly on film. But what it ends up doing, you know, they go back and forth until poor Mer Nator, Arnold, is like caught up in all these dresses, and he's got like a hat over his eyes and a scarf, and he's tripping over mannequins. And that's when T decides to chase after John again and say, I won. Now we're going to discuss my thoughts about the playground. But he had never had any intention of that, you know. John's smart. He's like, I don't want anything to do with any authority figures. So he runs downstairs, gets on his dirt bike. It does take a little while to start his dirt bike. And so that builds, oh boy, he says, is dirt bike going to start? Please, we want to hear that sound. He starts it now. This is, again, the training that went into Mr. T playing this role. Like I said, it's this role that was different for him, way more fluid, and instead of being overpowering, very, I don't know, like, so he is, like, in really good shape, like, and he runs like Tom Cruise in a Tom Cruise movie after John, and John's trying to ride his bike, you know, and he's running after him, but John's, you know, fast and maneuverable. So then the ballet inspector, he's like ballet-like in his running, and Tom Cruise-like in his running. Holy cow. But then he's not fast enough because the kid's on a dirt bike. So then he finds this like gigantic, like one of those tow trucks for semi trucks. And he says, playground inspector, I need to take this vehicle. And the guy's like, for what? He goes, oh, God, I got to, it's just to play, got a playground to save. The guy goes, okay, fine. So he takes this huge truck. And meanwhile, John's gone. John gets back into the L.A., the culverts for the L.A. River. And he thinks he's like, I'm in great shape. And then the playground inspector, he takes the truck like, since he's not actually a real playground inspector, he doesn't care about the consequences. He rides this truck like has it like jump off this thing, then he's still chasing John. Pretty impressive. And very determined now to say, I'm going to catch up with you and discuss, why we need to close all the playgrounds in the Los Angeles area. Even though that's not the truth, like really it's from the future. He's still trying to play this game. And we see John, you're trying to go fast, but he's in a dirt bike. This guy's in a truck. Even though John's kind of trying to use his maneuverability, we see that sooner or later he's going to catch up. Then we finally see Mer Nator catch up. He's in his own bike, which is a little bit more faster and stronger, and it has a nice sound to it too. Kind of like I can't even do the sound. It's like a nice deep-throated purr. Purrs like a kid. I don't know. Is that a bossa nova kitten? Is that a thing? It'd be, I guess, a cat. So, he's like, what he does is he's up on above the culvert. What he does is start throwing rose thorns down at the truck, trying to give the truck of T a flat tire, because he says, hey, you can't have you driving this. And he keeps throwing the roses over the side to pop the tires, and then he also smartly, I guess, throws the rose buds at the driver T to distract him, right? But this guy is determined. And that's why they probably got Mr. T to play this role, was like he could really focus. Then we see the Mer Nator do a jump, which is really cool to catch up, because he says, okay, the roses didn't work, the thorns didn't work. And so then he's behind the truck. So we have the dirt bike, the truck, and motorcycle. And he makes a move, gets by the truck. And he says, John, ride on my motorcycle. It's way faster. So John gets on the motorcycle with him, and he still has like a decent amount of roses. So he uses he says, instead of the power, he says, by the power of roses, he throws like all these rose stems. He's already threw the buds off all of them. And there's so many that, of course, it gives the truck a flat tire. And it comes to a stop, and then they stop far enough away, because then T gets out of the truck, and he's like, they're far enough away he can't run to catch up. He's like, this is in my truck. I don't even know where's the spare tire for. How do you tow a tow truck for a tow? Is there a tow truck for a tow truck for a tow truck? He's like, where's the jack in this thing? This thing doesn't have a trunk. It was a bit like a sleep podcast. He's walking around, like they're right over there. I got to get this, like, this is my job. I'm sent from the future. I got to, again, very good acting. Because from his character's perspective, he's there to save the world, like save the future. Because if playgrounds were in the future, digital beings wouldn't have authority. By the way, everybody listening, hinty, hint, hint. Let's keep those playgrounds, because but he's like, so you'd say that he's overreacting, because, I got to get this tire changed so I can catch up with them. Now, meanwhile, to make it more dramatic, Mer Nator and John are just sitting there watching them, and they're having a little bit of a laugh, like, because they think it's all over. They think this guy's never going to change his tire. Like, he's right. Well, he'll be here all day. What kind of, like, can you even jack up a truck? And also, it's more than one tire's flat. And they even blow, they, like, take the rest of the rosebuds, they put them in their hands, and they blow the rose petals at him, which really, like dampens his spirit as he's trying to pace around this truck. And he starts looking, because trucks don't have a trunk. They have, like, those side things. So he's trying to get those open. He's trying to find the keys. And then he gets rose petals blown at him. So it's really disheartening for him. But, I mean, honestly, he works for the Anti-Playground, the group from digital beings from the future. So it's like we can't have that much sympathy for him. And it actually helps us kind of feel more connected, that there's joy. And, if you've ever blown rose petals at your nemesis, it feels pretty good, even if it's not the end of the film. So you say, okay, this is still going to go on. And yeah, with that, those two ride off together, and you think, holy cow, this whole thing's resolved. Playgrounds will exist forever. I mean, which in our hearts they will, and in the world they will. But in this piece of fiction, how will we resolve this? Will there be a time when playgrounds don't compute? Will Skynet, take the keystone of our community away? Or just say, I can't playgrounds, play structures. Well, this is a dirt lot. You can play here all you want. It's a playground. It's got two big rocks. Okay, well, I mean, I agree with you, but couldn't we have a play structure here? So anyway, enough about all that. I hope you enjoyed our tale with from T2, The Last Playground, Mer Nator, The Last Playground. Good night, everybody. All right, this is Scoots. I hope you're settling in, because I'm in bed right now. I'm recording this spot for Helix Sleep from bed because I love this mattress. And you deserve a mattress you love that fits you and your needs, just like my Helix mattress fits mine. So go over to helixsleep.com/sleep and take that Helix quiz. It'll take you just a couple minutes. You'll get matched with the perfect mattress for how you like to sleep, how you and your partner like to sleep. I mean, is that mattress you're in right now really fitting your needs? Do you really love it? Because if you don't, just take that quiz and see what mattress you get matched with, and then stay to the end. I'll tell you about an amazing deal Helix has with you in mind. Because when I took the Helix quiz, I told it, I want something a little firmer. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to wake up with aches and pains. And I like to sleep cool. I don't want to feel warm. I don't want to feel stuffy. And Helix picked the perfect mattress for how I like to sleep. Now, when you get your Helix, remember, you get a 120-night sleep trial. Mattress comes with a lifetime limited warranty. And the mattress will come straight to your door. There's free shipping in the U.S., You don't have to go to a store. You just take this quiz. You don't have to test mattresses in front of a salesperson. You don't even have to leave your house. In fact, you could take the Helix quiz right from bed. And you can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. The Happy with Helix guarantee offers a risk-free customer-first experience designed to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. And Helix is the most awarded mattress brand. It's tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. And of course, Helix has an amazing deal for you right now. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Thanks, everybody.